What is going on, everybody? Back at you again with this new edition in this Move the Chains podcast with your man and the host, Sam McIntyre. Hope we're doing well today on this terrific Tuesday. Two doubleheaders last night. Can't believe there was two doubleheaders last night, but it is what it is. I wanted to dive into both those games from both perspectives. And then also, I just noticed some stuff last night with these receivers in the league, and Kyler Murray mainly in particular, that just scare me and would worry the hell out of me. So I wanted to start off with the first game last night. Buccaneers, Ravens in Tampa last night. I had one of my buddies, Tyler Lewis, shout out to him from college at that game last night. I can't imagine how that was as a Ravens fan from Maryland in that area. Shout out to you, brother. I love you. But that was Baltimore Raven football at its finest. Run the ball down Tampa Bay's throat, even with Vita Vea in there last night. When I've seen it over the years, it's hard to run on Tampa, especially when that big hoss, 350 pounds of space-eating defensive tackles in there for that defense. Now, they ran the football last night. Derrick Henry might be the best addition this offseason. Write it down. Max Lawson, shout out to you. Your Ravens stole him. Suck it, Jerry. You didn't get him. You should have. But last night, to me, if this continues for Baltimore, now, again, they got to release some demons from the past. Mainly last year's AFC Championship game, which they should have won, by the way, but whatever, it is what it is. This formula works. Run the football, control the clock, and then that play-action game with Lamar gets going. Rashad Bateman balled out last night. I loved him coming out of Minnesota a couple years ago in that 2019 fluke year with PJ Fleck. Roll that boat at Minnesota. So, great win for the Ravens last night. They're elite, man. That team. Now, again, I worry about the Marlon Humphrey injury, especially when they said on the broadcast last night when they go three wide receiver sets. He's their guy. He can lock down corners. He's had great interceptions this year and one against my Raiders in the week 2. And which seems like a crazy memory ago. And then he had 2 last night that were just incredible plays. The first one, Baker. I love you, Baker. I've been told you're my doppelganger. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? My dad and I are like, hey. Oh, my don. Mamma mia, pizzeria. What are we doing here? You got to get down there. You got to just throw it away, Baker. Live to see another day. And then the second one was just great. I mean, that was just pure ball hawking style of defense right there. Shades of Ed Reed. So, last night, Baltimore, to me, proved to me, if they continue with this formula, watch out, AFC. Because, and there's one team that's in their fucking way, and it's those goddamn Chiefs with the fucking Florida State shit, the Chiefs. Chase Mathis, you know what I'm talking about. Shout out to you. So, that was on the Ravens side. I want to flip it over to Tampa last night. So, started out hot last night. 10-0. I'm sitting there in my head going, holy shit. Got a blowout. Here we go. And then Baltimore won that avalanche last night. Tampa Bay just could not recover. They cannot get their footing again. And then obviously the 2 injuries happened with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Shout out to their health. I know that Mike Evans he's out till week 11. I got that word when I was at the gym tonight. On my phone that it's a week 11. So it's not the end of the season injury for Mike Evans, but it's a little bit. You got 4 weeks to kind of, just kind of scrape by, get what you can out of this. And then you got to kick it in a hyperdrive. Now Mike Evans comes back, you get a bye week, and then you get going a little bit. But Chris Godwin, I'm not sure, because to me, he's their slot guy. He's their most dependable guy on third down to go to for Baker Mayfield, and obviously Tom Brady when he was there, and then obviously Jameis Winston before that. So you've got to have both those guys. Now, who's more important? Well, that's a great question. I would argue Mike Evans just a little bit with that body frame, that 6'5", 231 size frame mobility, the size frame matchup. He's a mismatch for any corner in this league. And it's hard to put safeties on him. He reminds me of when Kyle Pitts was at Florida, even though the career has not panned out the way I thought it was. But when I watched him against Georgia, and Georgia's got NFL bodies everywhere, I remember sitting there in my head. I was working at Lowe's at the time, and I sat there going, what the fuck is this unicorn? God damn. And he was burning corners and all this shit. So, I'm just saying, Mike Evans, to me, shout out to his health. Hopefully he gets back recovery faster in 4 weeks. And then Tampa Bay's got to get going. Now, they got a big game this week against the Falcons. They got to get that one at home. It's one thing to lose in Atlanta. That's okay. Got it. Thursday night standalone. Got it. This is in Tampa. You got to win this one, Tampa. and I'll make my picks for that game and all the other ones going down the road. But that, to me, is the key. And that defense last night, listen, the one knock I have on this Todd Bowles defense, and I said it to my dad last night, is it's almost reminds me of Brian Flores' defense. It's a cover zero. I'm trying to educate you a little bit. It's a cover zero, attack all the blitzes, and then try and just befuddle these quarterbacks. Now, again, it worked against C.J. Stroud and Brock Purdy. It didn't so much against the Lions, but Mike Kesnick, I got to tell you this, brother. That Lion team is loaded and stacked. And congrats on Julie having a baby. So, that's what I wanted to get to tonight. And then I wanted to flip to the other game. Tampa Bay's going to be okay. Just to recap, Baltimore's elite. Tampa Bay's a playoff team. It was just a bad game last night. It just snowballed. Baltimore does that to everybody. The one thing I will say that I think is puzzling, especially when Lamar's 22-1 against the NFC, which is crazy to me. They have beat the shit out of Seattle last year. They beat the shit out of Detroit. Is I think what happens is when you play Lamar, you're not used to that. That's like that. It's like Army Navy when you're playing a triple option. You never seen it. And then when you see it, okay, now if you play again against Tampa, i.e. a Super Bowl match, I'm just throwing a hypothetical out, then maybe Todd Bowles can go back in that lab and go, okay, this is what we got to do better. This is what we got to do to kind of befuddle him a little bit. So I wanted to flip over to the Chargers-Cardinals game last night. Now, again, I'll go back tomorrow and watch the game. I didn't have ESPN Plus. Sorry. Doing too much. Too much streaming shit to catch up with. But I had two takeaways. My first is with the Chargers. What are you doing? Am I watching like Matt Stafford 2.0 in Detroit? It really feels that way. I'm really starting to see it. He puts up a lot of yards, a lot of numbers, but doesn't win it. Now, can I blame this on Herbert last night? I don't know. He threw for 3.5 football fields. There's got to be something going on. He's got guys dropping balls left and right. He's putting it in the positions the guys to catch it. Now, if I'm the Chargers at the deadline, you better make a move at receiver because you got to get somebody in there. Now, Ladd McConkey, I think will catch on, from Georgia. He's a good player who they got in the draft. Quentin Johnson, to me, that early, the first couple weeks, I'm like, he's a changed guy. He looks good, and then I don't hear from him. Is he MIA? Is he like Mike Williams 2.0 where he gets hurt, but he's talented? I don't know. And then, they got Will Dissly. Good God, the Seattle rechecked. He caught 80 yards last night. So, again, I just feel like with the Chargers, what are we doing? Come on, man. Help this kid out. I feel like I'm watching the same movie again. It happened with Rivers, and it's now happening with Herbert. Now, Herbert is 10 times more talented than Philip Rivers, no question about it. And twice on Sundays. But I feel like I'm watching the same movie here. And I want Matt Stafford in this, not, now with the Rams, but when he was with the Lions, where I told my buddy Derek Solomon's in this thing. Shout out to you, buddy. I love you. And I'm watching this. And I feel like I'm watching the same movie. Not a lot of run game. Hit and miss run game. Offensive line's good. I mean, you got 2 tackles that are elite. Your offensive line's not bad. But it's just the same old shit. And when at some point, it's funny. I've said for years the Chargers are the Vikings with great weather. And the Vikings are the Chargers with shit weather. You flip the coast in Midwest weather and then the West Coast weather, obviously. But I got to be alarmed. Chargers need to make a move at the deadline. Now, I will say this. Their schedule, there's still a lot of season left. I'm not counting them out. They got the right coach for Justin Herbert, finally. After that Brandon Staley nonsense and then the Anthony Lynn stuff. They have a coach now. You had to pay big bucks for a big-time coach, and they did that. And they got their tackles right. They got the pieces there. You just got to put it all together for Herbert because I think that kid is special. I was sold on him that first year, his rookie year. Obviously, most people were sold on with him against Kansas City, obviously, when he knew 5 minutes before the game he was playing. But it was, to me, the Tampa game that year in Tampa. Now, they blew the game, obviously charging. But the way that he was playing that game, Todd Bowles, and I mentioned this before with Tampa Bay, they're a blitz-happy, cover zero defense, throw the kitchen sink at you. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it did not work that day for Tampa because Herbert was just boom, 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 slicing, dicing. seam routes, kill shots down the middle, bombs away. So, message to the Chargers, go get a receiver, go get Herbert some help. You need a dog right now. You need a guy. If I'm in the draft, there's a couple guys that I'm looking at. And it's Ohio State kid I would take if I'm the Chargers, or you got to get some weapons. Because I know Harbaugh, he's old school. He said offensive linemen are a weapon, okay? Are weapons. And that's a good thing. You got your tackle solidified. Now go help Justin Herbert and get him some help. So on the other side last night, Arizona won shockingly. But I'm starting to see a pattern with this team. They're this. Now, I will say I've been very critical of Kyler Murray. And listen, do I think you can win a Super Bowl with him? I do not. I can't see them doing that with him. I think at some point you got to cut your ties. I'm not sold on him, okay? I'm not disputing the talent. He's like Lamar a little bit, where you run and he's been banged up and all this. But I get a lot more of the person with Lamar, he's focused and he cares and he gives a fuck. And Kyler's just... I just with Kyler, why can't you grow the fuck up? This is a franchise quarterback, and you're not acting like it, little munchkin land, little bitch. You got to show up. And last night, this whole thing with Marvin Harrison fascinates me. Okay. Because I'm going to get to Kyler back in a second. But Marvin Harrison, last night, I'm starting to see this as a trend, and it's really troubling for me. Is that when you don't get your receivers the ball, i.e. George Pickens, Shitbird, DK Metcalf, Terrell Owens Light, who almost looks exactly like him, Shitbird, and then this guy, Shitbird. Now, he's not on the Shitbird category, trajectory, but it's sure damn near looking like it. So, Kyler, get this fucker the ball. Get him the ball. Often and early. I'm telling you. You drafted this kid to do that. Now, the one knock I have on Marvin Harrison, and I'm going to give you an experience here that I had. And most people that know me, I went to the Combine last year, the first time in my life. Grand old time. I lost my voice. I was screaming. I was yelling. I was hooping and howling. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But I noticed something. That Marvin Harrison didn't do shit at the Combine last year. Excuse me. And that was alarming to me. Because I had heard from people that, like Louis Riddick and the guys that I listened to, said that he was not a burner. Okay. But everything else checked the box. The route running, everything else. But the one thing I'm missing from this kid is he does not have that dog in him, that fire, that like, give me the fucking ball. Like, I was thinking about this at the gym tonight. Jamar Chase has that dog in him. Mike Evans has that dog in him. I'm watching Devontae in his prime. Yep, he's got that dog. Give me the fucking ball. Let's go. Throw that shit up. Calvin Johnson, dog. Larry Fitzgerald has that dog in him. Malik Neighbors for the Giants, dog. You saw LSU last year. Give me the fucking ball. I'm going to get this motherfucker. Put any DB against me, I'm going to go. That's confidence, and that's what you got to do. And this whole dropping the ball and being disengaged, this is horse shit. And again, Kyler's got to be on the same page with his quarterback. Now, is Arizona a great team to watch? No question. And they're an interesting team. I'm not disputing that Kyler Murray's not gifted and talented. But you know what he reminds me of? A little bit of Bill Murray, the actor. Really talented, really gifted, but difficult to get along with, and kind of aloof and kind of dumb with the whole video game nonsense. What the fuck you doing? This is turning me off. What are you doing? Nobody else is doing this shit in the fucking league. Come on, man. Not Mahomes, not Burrow, not Jordan Love, not Josh Allen. We put him like here, and I don't think he's there. So, he reminds me a lot of Jay Cutler. A lot of the same vibes. So, Arizona, I would think, listen, you got investment in this kid. I understand that. But, dude, you got to do something because I look at Arizona, and they are a long way away from doing something. Now, they're competitive, they're feisty, and they're playing for Jonathan Gannon. I'm not disputing that. But you got to do something at quarterback. Get this guy out of here. Get him out. Just draft a new one. It's time to move on. Get somebody new. Because as long as you got this guy at quarterback, you're going to be where you've been. Which is interesting, but nothing. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of splash. But it's not a lot of sizzle. It's a lot of sizzle, but no, where's the substance? Like, where's the meaning to it? I don't see it with Arizona. So, we got to see how the season plays out. But after last night, and I'll go tomorrow and watch the whole game and give my thoughts for me. But I just want to get on here tonight. Like always, hit the like, subscribe, share button. Share to your friends. And I'll be coming out more videos this week for you guys. I know you guys like and love my content. And hope you guys have a great, terrific Tuesday night. And hope to hear from you guys soon.